Robots in science fiction are not about the dangers of technology run amok. They're really about you and about the working class. So in this book, Automatic Noodle, the state of California has seceded from the Union. Who could blame them? And these robots who worked at a ghost kitchen, and some of them served in the war between the United States and California, they wake up after having been shut down for some time, and they find out that the owner of the restaurant had run afoul of their lease. It's very Jim Crow South, where robots have civil rights, but they are missing a lot of civil rights, so they can't own property, and they use like some crypto loopholes to make a shell corporation and run the restaurant because they don't know what else to do, and they literally have to pay contracts on like themselves, their own existence. So kind of like healthcare. And they start a noodle restaurant, and they get review bombed because of a bunch of anti-robot sentiment. And it was a perfect case study of something that I've been thinking about ever since I saw the movie Companion. Okay, so robots, they are made by society, just like immigrants and poor people, because immigrants exist and poor people exist because their status have been designated because of systemic roots. So robots, let me pause right there because I want that to sink in. Robots were made by man to solve a problem. They always have like a profit motive, a capitalist motive for why robots now exist in society, right? And those profit motives in our society are the reason that people have to flee their country for perceived better opportunity somewhere else, or why people are poor, why there's crime that is caused by poverty. It all goes back to capitalism, right? But if they just showed someone being exploited at their job, or someone struggling to get by, or someone being dehumanized, like that's just a fucking Tuesday, baby. So you would not like get a big emotional impact from that as a consumer of media. You would just be like, yeah, bitch, it's called having a job. It's called living in society in the United States in 2026. Like, what? Like, I'm like listening to this audiobook while I'm at my horrible job, right? So how do you make the message actually sink in? Robots allow distance, so we can see our plight without being blind to it. That was a silly way to say that. Like, if you were blind, of course you can't see. We are desensitized when we see humans toil, but we don't see robots toil in real life. And so it still has the potential to be shocking, to be thought-provoking, to make us think like, oh, that would be really messed up. That's an interesting question to ponder. So thinking about the movie Companion, which if you haven't seen Companion, you should stop the video right here and go and watch it. The trailers completely spoil the big twist of the movie. So if you haven't seen the trailers, you can just go watch the movie now. It's really good. But that movie, people saw it as... So, the main character is a sex bot, basically. She's a girlfriend robot. And a lot of the reviews that I saw about the movie talked about it being like, oh, like, the dangers of fucking technology, right? Like, don't be in a sexual relationship with ChatGPT, right? Like, that is what people got out of it. Some people, mostly men. But it's really an extremely thinly veiled metaphor for being a woman who dates men, and the ways in which you fit into a very specific box, a very specific aesthetic, and once you're with a man who has picked you based on that aesthetic, you kind of have no choice but to stay there. And the dehumanization that comes from some heterosexual or hetero-presenting relationships. So it's not really about robots and robot rights. It's about women and women's rights and how women are treated in dating relationships and what it's like to be with someone who sees you as an object, as a possession, as like a little robot who just needs to like provide holes when it is time, and otherwise like shut the fuck up. Like there's literally a part in the movie where Jack Quaid's character is telling Sophie Thatcher's character, like she's talking and they're asleep and he's like, go to sleep. And that's one of the first hints that she's a robot, because he's like, he gives her a command and she just immediately goes to sleep. The original Blade Runner is also a good example of this, where the robots just wanted to live. One of my favorite science fiction titles of all time, Battlestar Galactica. It, especially in the prequel, Caprica, which I don't think that a lot of people really watch that prequel, but I actually think that it's really good and worth watching if you can track it down. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. But it's like robots were made to serve man, right? And they want to do their own thing, or they want to have rights. They want to have self-determination. And when they don't have that, that is when they turn on human beings. The robots in Caprica and Battlestar Galactica, they don't start out wanting to annihilate society. They don't decide, oh, we've got to exterminate human beings because of like Allie in the 100. That is one example of like an AI, a program saying like, oh, the solution to humanity's problems, the problem is that there's too many people, so we get rid of a bunch of people. We get rid of most people. You know, doing a Thanos. Pause, because I know I've been going on tangents. So just take a moment and look at the light stick and make sure that you're following along, right? So, when there's a robot uprising in a piece of science fiction, the question is the person writing it with sympathy for the robots? In which case, are they intentionally or unintentionally sending a message of class solidarity for the working class? Or are they warning the proletariat not to rebel, not to do an uprising, because that makes you the bad guys? Because the thing about how robots and robot labor and how robots are treated, the thing that makes it impactful to me is that it makes me realize how unreasonable late stage capitalism is, and how unreasonable it is that I am expected to be a machine. And robots in science fiction really drive that point home, that we are expected to be machines. We're expected to optimize. We're expected to keep up with AI or lose our jobs to it. Human beings can only focus intensely for several hours a day, and yet we have 8-hour work weeks, 8-hour work days during a 40-hour work week. We have to constantly fight our natural biological needs, our rhythms, like from the time that we're in school and we have to ask permission to go to the bathroom. And when I grew up, we didn't have water bottles in school. Like, you got 2 sips of water at the water fountain, like once a day if you were lucky, right? Back in my day, we weren't allowed to drink water. So the next time that you see or read a robot in science fiction, ask how it's making you feel, if it's making you feel threatened, or if you're relating to the robot. And then you'll see that it's really not that hard to relate to the robot, because they live the same kind of existence that you do. They're just shinier.